For the Chapter 10 Content Mastery, we kind of went over the civil and criminal lawsuits and how it does not violate the concept of double jeopardy. And then the difference between civil and criminal law, what is and what constitutes criminal liability, and what are some of the defenses to criminal liability. So, assault and battery could be both civil and criminal lawsuit, because the criminal lawsuit part of it, or the civil lawsuit part of it, that's when, like, if someone were to get attacked walking down the street, they could file a lawsuit against the assailant, a civil suit, and then the state can also prosecute the assailant, and that would be your criminal lawsuit. And this doesn't violate the concept of double jeopardy because in this case, the guy that came up and just attacked someone randomly on the street, he would have to pay for the injuries, so that would be part of the civil part. And then he could also face imprisonment or get fined, and that would be part of the criminal. So the difference between civil and criminal law is civil law pertains to person to person and their government, while the criminal law, that's more towards laws against or laws that are broken that can be sued by the state, or that the state can prosecute through. So some of the liabilities, or what constitutes a criminal liability, is the performance of a prohibited act. So this is like breaking the law, anything like that. And then if the assailant or the guy or the person who did the action meant to do it. So both of those must be present in order for this to or in order for it to be a criminal liability. But there are some defenses that can back him up if he gets in this situation. The main one that most people usually kind of see, or that most courts see, is self-defense. So if he were to be walking down the street, like if some guy's walking down the street and feels threatened where the guy is like, or the other person's going to like attack them or hurt them, then they can fight back to save themselves. This is self-defense, so they're protecting themselves against an assailant. The next one is necessity. And that means the criminal act was necessary in order to prevent any further harm. So like if he hurt this guy to stop that guy from hurting a bunch of other people, then he can say it was necessity. The next one is insanity. So like if he is not all mentally there, where like he's like mentally insane, he can use that excuse that he can't quite control himself, so then they would have to put him in a special place to get help. And then the next one is mistakes, and usually not knowing the law or not understanding the law is not necessarily a excuse. But if like the person did not truly mean for that to happen, then they might be able to get away with that, might be able to use that excuse to get out of that criminal liability. The next one is duress, and this means like a wrongful threat to one person, like two person performing an act that he or she would not have otherwise performed. So this is like not meaning to like actually like do it, like it's in order, like the guy is trying to help himself basically to get away from that wrongful threat. The next one's entrapment, and this is used basically for to prevent the police from like taking control of everything. So like if the police is like purposely trapping them so they have to break the law, then they can say that's entrapment. So that law is made to prevent the police from making people break the law. Next one is statute of limitations. And this is, there are like some exceptions, such as the crime of murder, So like they do civil wrongs. So this the criminal prosecution with a so like the government only can initiate criminal prosecution for a certain amount of years. And then the last one is immunity. So if they're trying to, if they have a reason to get out of it, like they're able to help the police get someone that's like a bigger threat to society, then they can do that. They can help them, help the police get that person, and then they can get off clean with that, with what they did. And usually that won't help with like big crimes, but like smaller crimes that can help. And yeah.